Hey everyone, good morning. I hope you're doing well. I've got another what I eat in a day video combined with a high protein vegan meal prep because everything I'm eating today, or most everything I'm eating today, I prepped big batches of earlier this week just to make life a little bit easier for myself. So I'm trying to get back into fitness and just eating better now that life has kind of settled down post holidays and I have more time. So I'm going to be sharing my recipes for all the meal prep things and also my macros for today. I'm going to be tracking everything using the Lifesome app. It's a health and weight loss app. I'm collaborating with them on this video. I have the premium version, so I have access to their recipes and their meal plan library. They also have a free version you can download and try out if you'd like to. I'll have it linked down below. But I'm starting off my morning with all my beverages per usual. So I've got my water with a splash of cranberry juice, and I'm adding some apple cider vinegar to that. Then I also have my warm drink. So today I've got another matcha latte. I'm using the Protein Nut Milk by Silk. So I'm going to log both of these drinks in a Lifesome. They have a separate section where you can log your water, and it kind of reminds you to drink water throughout the day. I kind of mentioned before, I have trouble remembering after the morning to stay hydrated, and I've been in Colorado for the past couple weeks, and it's so much drier here than in the Bay Area, so this has been really helpful. And then another of my favorite features is you can save recipes. So for example, if I have a matcha latte every morning, I can combine the nutrition information for the milk, for the matcha powder, and then for the teaspoon of maple syrup that I put in there, and just save it under matcha latte, and I don't have to add it in manually every time. You can actually just use the barcode on the container to pull the nutrition information from their database. So 1 cup of that, and a teaspoon of syrup and the matcha powder. So then I can just go to breakfast and then add that recipe from my favorites. So I've got about 153 calories under my belt to start. So I'm gonna do a little bit of work, drink my drinks, come back and do breakfast. I'll probably switch to a voiceover now so that I can show you all of the recipes that I prepared earlier this week. For breakfast, I had beans and toast with homemade vegan breakfast sausage and a side of sauteed spinach. Baked beans have been my obsession lately, but I wanted to make a homemade version with more veggies and less processed sugar. So for that, I sauteed onions, green peppers, and garlic in my Dutch oven, just using water instead of oil. Then I threw in 2 cans of navy beans, a little bit of brown sugar, some black strap molasses, onion and garlic powder, some liquid smoke, some paprika, and black pepper. Then I stirred in a can of crushed tomatoes, but I would actually recommend using tomato sauce. This is just what I had on hand. I forgot this time, but I also recommend adding some Dijon mustard and a bay leaf for extra flavor if you make these. So I covered that and I simmered the beans on low for about an hour to develop all the flavors. For the sausage recipe, I start out by hydrating some textured vegetable protein, or TVP, with a beef-flavored vegan broth. I let it sit for a couple minutes to soak it all up, and then I add some maple syrup, liquid smoke, and liquid aminos. Then in a separate bowl, I combine some chickpea flour with vital wheat gluten and some spices, some fennel, some black pepper, and knead it all together with my TVP mixture. Then I portion out my dough into either 12 or 15 parts, and I roll those into sausage links and wrap them individually in foil. Next time I'll probably try using cheesecloth. Then I threw them into my Dutch oven and steamed them for about 45 minutes till they had swelled up against the foil. You can eat these just steamed, but I like to brown them a little bit in a hot skillet with a tiny bit of oil. I just think it improves the texture. So for my breakfast, I reheated some of my beans to serve alongside toast. This is the sprouted grain bread by Dave's Killer Bread. And then I had 2 sausages on the side, along with a handful of sauteed spinach for my greens and some avocado for healthy fats. Here are the macros for this meal. Because I prepared big batches of the beans and the sausage ahead of time, I was actually able to record both recipes on the Lifesome app and have it calculate the nutrition facts for each portion size for me, which is super convenient. For lunch, I had a big helping of Greek lentil and pasta salad. So for this, I prepped my lentils by rinsing them and boiling them in some vegetable broth with onions and fresh garlic. At the same time, I boiled some of this bonza chickpea pasta, which I enjoy because it has a good texture and it's quite high in protein compared to regular wheat pasta. And I like using the fusilli for my pasta salads because the shape holds the dressing really well. So I boiled this till it was al dente, and then I rinsed it in cold water to stop it from cooking while I prepared my other ingredients. For the Greek style dressing, I used tahini as my base, which is great if you want a super creamy dressing without using oil. To that, I added red wine vinegar, lemon juice, Dijon mustard, garlic powder, dried basil and oregano, onion powder, salt and pepper. You'll see that the tahini thickens up a lot as you stir other ingredients into it, so I also added some water to thin it out to a consistency that I liked. I also prepped some fresh cucumber and tomato for the pasta salad, and since I was going to be storing it for a couple days in my fridge, I removed the seeds and the extra liquid from both. Finally, I combined my lentils and my pasta with some thinly sliced onions, some roasted red peppers, some Kalamata olives, chopped artichoke hearts, my tomatoes and my cucumber, and my creamy tahini dressing. Plus I had a little bit of leftover dill from my Super Bowl recipes, so I added some of that. And I prefer to eat this pasta salad chilled, but it's also good warmed up slightly. When I was logging this recipe in the Lifesum app, I was able to just scan in the nutrition facts for the box of pasta and for the tahini and a couple of the other ingredients using their barcodes, because Lifesum has this huge database of different products, and it makes it super easy to track your nutrition without manually inputting all the nutrition facts from the box. And here are the macros for this meal. For dinner, I decided to try out one of the dishes from Lifesum's recipe library. It's super easy to search for vegan options, so I browsed through and decided to try out this tofu palak paneer. For this, I started out by browning some cubed tofu in a pan on all sides, and then I set it aside, and in the same pan, I sauteed some onions, garlic, fresh ginger, and red pepper until all that was nice and caramelized. I added some fresh spinach along with some frozen spinach I had left over from my spinach and artichoke dip, and I cooked it until it was wilted. To that I added cloves, cumin, coriander, turmeric, and garam masala. I added a little bit of water to keep that from burning onto the pan. Then I tossed in my tofu. I had this dish on its own. Usually I have rice with it, but since my breakfast and my lunch were both pretty high carb already, I just wanted to balance it out. And then since I used a recipe from their library, it already had the nutrition facts stored in there, so I just logged a serving of that, and here are the macros for this meal. Finally, to round out the day, I had a piece of black bean brownie that, like everything else in this video, I had meal prepped a huge batch of earlier that week. So for this, I pureed a couple cans of black beans with maple syrup and tahini, which I was using in place of oil. Once that was smooth, I stirred in some cocoa powder, some baking powder, salt, and brown rice flour. You can use literally any kind of flour you like in this recipe, and I baked those for a little over 20 minutes. Here are the macros for my dessert. These are pretty high in protein, lower in sugar and fat than your typical dessert brownie. I think they still taste really good, and they're actually better as leftovers because they get a little bit more moist and fudgy after they sit overnight. So that's everything that I ate in one day of my life. As a vegan, I will probably be upping my calories over the next couple weeks gradually, just because, like I said, I want to be more active. Ideally, I'd be working out like 4 times a week in some way, shape, or form. My brain feels better when I'm more active. So I will be doing that. I'll be tracking my calories, probably not in as much detail as I did in this video, but just using Lifesum to sort of loosely track, make sure I'm hitting my protein requirements, my calories, gain a little bit of weight over the next couple months going into spring, hopefully mostly muscle. So those are my goals, but if any of you are trying to still lose some fat, maybe it was a New Year's resolution, I know that Lifesum also has a weight loss Kickstarter program, so that includes 3 weeks of meal planning. All of the recipes are super simple. They're 5 ingredients or fewer, so if you're interested in that, I'll have more information linked down below. You can try the basic version of Lifesum completely for free, and I also have all my recipes for the meal prep items linked down below in my blog. So thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you very soon. Bye.